Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry, good morning. I'm here. Sorry, as you can see, I've been working away all morning. Been trying to be awake for my stream, so no fancy intros this morning, none of that stuff, because I'm already knee deep into it. Uh, Good morning, Liesel, Soma, glad you're here. Um, Things are crazy around here. We got in from Florida yesterday at, I guess our plane landed around noonish. And we got the little tram over. I'm going to do a whole series of videos on the trip. But anyway, we got the tram over to where I had left, parked my car for the week. We drove home. We walked in the door. We ordered us some lovely pizza. And stuffed our faces and went to sleep. And I guess I slept about 18 hours to reset my clock back on the West Coast time. Don't know if you can see my my lovely tan that I got while I was there. Last week this time we were flying out about this time. We were already in the air by this time. Give me just 1 second. So sorry I was late this morning. Like I said, we're still adjusting. What I'm working on this morning is the music for the Disney Community Holiday Celebration. This will be the second annual Disney Community Holiday Celebration. I wrote the music for last year, and I'm writing the music again for this year, and so excited about it. Don't have much voice. How do I sound? Let me know if you can hear me, can't hear me, whatever. And hopefully the background noise isn't too loud. My son is still very excited from the trip. It was a great flight there, great flight home, had a great time. Didn't see everything we wanted to see for many different reasons. The main thing we're blaming is Fred. Tropical storm, depression, whatever it was, Fred. If you excuse me just a minute, I'm going to go quiet down my boy. I will be right back. Give some more people some time to be. Oh gosh, what a morning. Um, Maybe I should not have done this stream this week. I don't know. Be sure and share the stream out. If you're in there lurking and listening, share it out on your social media and let other people know, because I know they're not looking for me. First things first, though, let me say, oh, good morning, Jeffrey. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Michelle the Quilter, did you get to meet some of your YouTube friends there? Real quick, let me do this, and then I will come back to that question. First of all, I'd like to thank Dean at the Live Place. Dean at the Live Place. The Live Place is your TV guide for YouTube live streamers. They're all family friendly on a multitude of topics. You can find anything you're interested in there, from community, theme parks, RV travel, fun and games, and it's all family friendly, meaning you can have your kids in the room when you're watching it. You can have your grandparents, whatever. You're not going to be shocked. You're not going to have shocking things up in front of you. Great group of people. There's over 150 different channels, I think he said now. And they're doing all sorts of, they do some fundraising for members of our community who might need a little help, stuff like that. Be sure to tune in. You will enjoy. Go check out thelifeplace.com. Also, hello to my partner channel, Cricket Fox. Cricket Fox and I do a show together once a month. It's the fourth Tuesday of the month, called the Manhattan Fox Hour. Be sure to run over to that channel and subscribe. And that way you'll get notifications. Our next show is coming up next week. We have a special guest host, and we'll explain all about that later. All right, did I get to meet some of my YouTube friends there? Yes, I saw Mama Mouse from Myers and the Mouse and hung out with her for a brief little bit in Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom. And I caught up with a group of friends at the Hooligans concert in Epcot Center. Let's see, who did I see? I saw the DePhilly crew. I saw Diz Our Dream, Jeff and Ange. I gave a big old hug to Steve from Steve's World. I sat next to Angela Minter. And I saw Arjons and Sam. And I'm sure there was more, but my son was having a rough time. He was having a little bit of a meltdown during the concert, so I didn't get to hang around for the group picture or anything. But did have a wonderful time. I didn't, like I said, I had my son with me, and my son is not one to hang around or stand still. And also we had the added thing that my daughter and I were both in wheelchairs / scooters, and that kind of hindered our mobility. So we were a little slow with that. But mainly it was the first vacation my son and I had taken ever, really. And so we kind of let him run the show, and he's oblivious of YouTube. He doesn't know anybody. Paul Engel, hello. Yeah, I was on a couple people's streams briefly. Was good to meet a few people, but like I said, we spent 2 days in Hollywood Studios. We spent 1 day at Magic Kingdom, and we were going to stay through to the fireworks, but hi, Francisco, good to see you. But because of tropical whatever Fred, we did get a ton of rain, and so we did scoot out of the parks early in the evening. And there were a lot of things we didn't get to ride that we wanted to. I'll be doing a whole vlog series on the trip because there's just so much I want to talk about, good and bad. I want to talk about the DAS Pass and our experiences with that. But real quick, a quick PSA. If you see someone with a stroller or in a wheelchair or on a scooter, be aware of your surroundings when you're walking through the park. I know it's easy to get caught up looking around and everything else, but I can't tell you the number of people I ended up having in my lap because they backed up into me, and they were ambulatory on both legs. I have a disability, my daughter has a disability, and my son has to have someone guiding him where to go, or he'll just, run into people. And I ended up with so many people literally sitting in my lap because they would back up into me, because no one, it seems, not a lot of people were aware of their surroundings. And I'm not saying that disabled people deserve special treatment, but a little awareness and kindness would be nice. I finally got to the point where I would just pick my lane and stay in it and hit the horn. And there was a family that decided to have a verbal domestic dispute and take up the whole walkway doing it and fighting loudly. And luckily, a more experienced scooter driver came around. She goes, "I'll clear them out." And she came around and plowed through them. It was like pedestrian bowling. But like I said, I'll do a whole blog on this. There were a lot of positives, there were a lot of negatives. In some places, I didn't find the magic I thought I'd find. In other places, I found the magic where I didn't think I'd find. Like, on the Navi River ride in Pandora, it was drenching torrential rain like you would not believe, like buckets of rain. And we got on the ride, and about halfway through, they had to stop it for a minute, I'm sure to offload someone or onload someone, which I never have a problem with that. If the ride stops, oh, big deal, especially with Pandora. It was dry, it was cool, it was very well air conditioned, and it was simply beautiful. And so when we were getting off the ride, I looked at the cast member there and I said, "Oh, couldn't you have just left us there for a while?" And he said, "How many's in your party?" I said, "6." He said, "Just a moment." Next thing I know, this other cast member came up and she said, "Right this way," and walked us back in line and put us back on the ride a second time. And I thought that was beautiful. So we got to ride Pandora twice in a row. So that was a beautiful magic moment. But anyway, back to the music. Let me get on with the music. As I said, I'm working on the music for the YouTube holiday celebration that Pete McDevitt is coordinating, and there are several people involved. I don't even know everybody who's involved, so I won't name anybody besides Pete McDevitt coordinating it. But he's asked me again this year to write music for it, so this is what I'm starting with. Let's just go ahead and play. I've whipped this up this morning, and let's give the music a test and see how it comes out. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is where I was when I realized I needed to start the stream. What in the world have I got here? Oh, that's why it sounds so funky. For some reason, I have 2 copies of it going here. Let's... Now, let's go back to this. No. Yeah, we could do that and see how it works now. Maybe it will sound a little better. There we go. Hi, Car Key. Thank you. Like I said, I'm gonna end up talking about the trip this whole time, probably. I thought I'd go ahead and yeah, KC, hi. How are you? Welcome in. So that's what I got so far. I was just trying to add in this Once in David's Royal City, but I think I'm gonna save that for another another piece, and I'll just continue on writing this one. We'll go ahead and pull that out for now, maybe. But this is our fanfare for the opening part. I'm gonna explore it. Yeah, well, let's just talk about the trip, because that's what's gonna happen. We got in yesterday at about lunchtime local time. We got up at about 4:35 o'clock on the East Coast time, which, if you don't want to convert, that's about 2 o'clock in the morning our time. When we left out here at 8 a.m. About around 8 o'clock is when our flight took off here. And I had parked my car in a local car park I got a discount on, got a shuttle over to the airport. Our flight took off about 8:30 in the morning, but we didn't land till 5:30 Eastern time. It was only a 5-hour flight, but we lost 3 hours going east. So when we got to the airport, we, instead of renting a car or catching a shuttle, because we were staying kind of far off property, I'll get to that in a minute. Instead of renting a car, my daughter, who's a platinum Uber member, I believe that's what it's called. She is a platinum Uber member, and so she suggested, let's just Uber or Lyft where we need to go. That way, none of us have to worry about driving, being stressed out, any of that stuff. So we decided to do that. And so we caught an Uber from the airport. Really nice fella. Really great fella. Drove us to our hotel. We stayed in, we were guests of an owner at a timeshare on International Boulevard. And very nice, sweet. The way it was set up was there was a main door. You went into a foyer that had a really lovely like chandelier thing and everything. And then off to one side was what kind of looked like a regular hotel room, only it was a little bit larger than a hotel room. In fact, this thing was huge. And it had 2 of the full-size beds and a full bathroom and a closet and a big dresser and a TV. That was my son and I's room. And then over on the other side was, you walked in and it was a living room with a full kitchen and a dining room. And then off to the back, they had a full walk-in closet, a full bath, and their king-size bedroom. And then we both had balconies off of our rooms. And they had 2 swimming pools and 2 hot tubs that were really nice. And a kiddie pool that had a fountain in it that ran 24 hours a day. So we always had this white noise going. And that was our, let's see, let me catch up on chat here. How I missed anybody? Nope. And so we ordered McDonald's through Uber Eats and stuffed our faces because they didn't make it clear that there was no food available on the plane for anybody but first class. Not even for purchase. They handed out some bags of pretzels and some little cookies. We flew on Delta. And so we didn't expect that. So we didn't have anything to eat, and the poor boy was starving. So we ordered McDonald's, we stuffed our faces, and we went to bed because we were exhausted. And the next morning we got up, we went to Hollywood Studios. We had, excuse me, my daughter's sister-in-law is a cast member, has been a cast member with the company for almost 5 years now. And she was our own personal VIP tour guide. Also, if we had any problems, she was the first one to go and sort them out with guest services or the guest assistance team. They have 2 different things. They have guest services when you first walk in, but then they have these umbrellas and people with blue shirts, and they're the guest assistance team, I think they're called, or something like that. And they are the one, they're stationed all through the park, and that's who you go to if you have any issues, any challenges. She got us a boarding pass for Rise. Her name was Emma. I'll just say that. That way I can just call her Emma and not have to go through the whole generational thing. She got us a boarding pass for Rise. We ended up getting on that afternoon. And she said, but I suggest you ride Mickey and Minnie's before you ride Rise. And I was like, okay, well, I've seen it a million times. You know, I know what the ride's like, sure. And CJ, that was all he wanted to ride, was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That was his favorite thing. So we got to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And that ride, don't be fooled. If you've only seen it on YouTube, yeah, you've kind of experienced, but no, it's intense, but it is awesome. It you get swung around quite a bit. It's a good ride to ride before you ride Rise of the Resistance, because and I'll get to that in a second. But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I could ride that a million times. We ended up, my daughter ended up getting my son a little Daisy Duck. And anytime he got sad, we would say, everybody conga. And he would make Daisy Duck conga and do her little hands and everything. We put that on his name tag. And so Mickey and Minnie's, wonderful ride. It is a little intense. It swings you around quite a bit. You can't really tell on the videos because of the gimbal. But yeah, it's an intense little ride, but it is so much fun. Let's see, we rode some other things. Oh, we drove the Millennium Falcon. It's another one. It's a little intense. It will knock you around. If you're like me and you have back and neck problems, you might consider just watching the videos. It does bang you around. It's very much a stationary coaster. But it's a wonderful ride. It's a lot of fun. We ate in the commissary. And that was it. The atmosphere in there is wonderful. The food is absolutely fantastic. We got these drinks. I can't remember what they were called. They were alcoholic drinks. They were adult drinks. But it was like apple, caramel, cinnamon with little boba balls in it, and it was, my daughter, hopefully when she's not lurking, she'll come in and fill in the blanks. That's why I wanted to do a vlog, is I wanted to get all my head together about all this. Rise of the Resistance, you can watch that thing a million times on YouTube and never fully understand that ride. It is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And we were lucky both times we rode it, because we rode it again on our last day. Both times we rode it, we got the car that looks the AT-AT directly on. When you get up, we looked directly on it. We weren't on the side. We were directly in front of it. And the first time we went through, we saw Kylo at the end. But the second time, we got the B scene because Kylo was not feeling well that day, I guess. I will say, yeah, these rides are bumpy and fast. And Mickey and Minnie swirls you around, and the thing is, it's perfectly level, but there is a visual drop in Mickey and Minnie's where you go over a waterfall, and I will say they handled that fantastically. Your eyes get tricked, and you honestly feel like you're going down the waterfall, even though the car doesn't move. Mickey and Minnie's was gorgeous. Magic Kingdom. we enjoyed that. My son and, my kids rode Space Mountain. I didn't ride Space Mountain, but we did the People Mover, and we did that with Mama Mouse in the car behind us. And we did everything in Tomorrowland. A lot of fun. We went back and caught Carousel later in that afternoon when the rain was coming through. With the DAS pass, with the Disability Access Pass, not all rides, excuse me a second, not all rides do you in, oh, the Mickey Bunch. Hi, Kelly, how are you? Not all rides, the DAS pass doesn't always get you in the shorter queue. And with Splash Mountain, I found out that the DAS pass only gets you in the wheelchair access. And it's not necessarily a shorter line. And the reason we got the DAS pass was my son cannot wait in line. He has no patience with that. His autism affects him that way. That standing around is not his thing. He's got to be going, moving, get on the ride, get off the ride, go to the next place, or sit down and play with his iPad. And in the Splash Mountain queue, we ended up in the wheelchair access, which I don't have a problem with, but I probably, if I'd have known this, I would have just pulled myself up the stairs to go through the main queue with him, because we ended up waiting, it was about 30 minutes. And as soon as we got up to next in line to go in and get in a boat, they shut down the ride because of lightning. And I was like, okay, so can we get a time to come back or anything? No, I'm sorry, we can't do that. You'll have to get back in line. And at that point, we were so hot and tired and frustrated that we just went on. And we did get to ride Thunder Mountain. That thing, oh, it's intense too, but it's a lot of fun. Cricket, hello, Cricket Fox, my partner channel. She's got some neat blogs and podcasts, and like I said, we do a show the fourth Tuesday of every month. So check out Cricket Fox. Go check out our channel. Let's see, anybody else come in? Okay. So Magic, oh, that was the day also that we did Chef Mickey's. We did a lunch at it was a brunch at Chef Mickey's. We caught the monorail over to the Contempo after we did Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom, and it's family style. And we had one member of our party who has severe allergies, has the gluten-free, egg-free, vegan, and they were very attentive to her needs, and they brought us tons and tons and tons of food. I had a Bloody Mary there if you like adult drinks and you like spicy. This Bloody Mary, I could have called that my breakfast. It had a garnish on it that was big hunks of cheese and cured meats, and I mean, it was this long, this big. It was huge, and I could have called that breakfast and been good. The Bloody Mary was fantastic, but they brought us Mickey waffles, scrambled eggs, this potato hash brown casserole that was just phenomenal. And we ate and we ate and we ate until we could not eat. It was a good thing that we had the wheelchairs that day, because we were rolling. But I had thought it'd be okay to bring my wheelchair. My kids were like, oh yeah, we can push you. We're up to that. But it got a little hectic after the second day of trying to push that wheelchair around. And so we sat down and made the decision to rent the scooters. I don't have any issues with the Disney scooters. I really don't. For the price and the convenience. Yes, they set the slow speed on them, But this is, I have a story from Epcot that will tell you why I love the Disney scooters. So we went to Epcot Center and we did some of the rides in the front. And then we had a late lunch at the Coral Reef in the seas. And our waiter was really, really nice. The food was amazing, absolutely amazing. And after that, my son-in-law and the rest of my kids, except for CJ, had an appointment to make a lightsaber over in Galaxy's Edge. So they all hopped over to Galaxy's Edge and left CJ and I. And we went and rode a couple rides. And we went and rode Mexico and we rode Frozen. And then he was hungry, so we went up to the food court in the land. And I have always loved that little food court. I had my first Disney drink there. I had a glass of wine there in the 80s and was so impressed with it. And so, and he really didn't have anything he could eat at the Coral Reef. He's a peanut butter and jelly cheeseburger kind of kid. So we went to this food court, just CJ and I let him go through and pick up anything he wanted. And he got a cheeseburger and an Uncrustable, which is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and some chips and some fruit. And this is our dream. Jeff and Ange, hello, welcome in. I just let him, he got a tray full of food. And then I saw they had some Moscato wine in little big containers. So I grabbed a couple of those and we parked ourselves at a table. He had his iPad. He had a tray full of food. I had my wine. I did a little Instagram live there. And it was a very comfortable place. It wasn't very crowded. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So everybody was out riding rides and everything. And we just sat there for, I'd say, about an hour and just had a really nice, quiet space. And then we were going to meet the kids in Paris. They were coming back on the Skyliner. And so we were going to meet them in Paris. And we got to Paris and my battery died on my scooter right next to this slushy place. And so I wasn't that mad, and I figured I'll just wait till the kids get here. They can call the little number on the keychain and talk to the scooter people and get me a new scooter. But in the meantime, I'm here. The slushy stand is here. I sat my son down on a curb with his iPad and I went and got me a slushy. I got the citron slushy with an extra shot and sat there on my scooter and enjoyed sitting in Paris and watching the view. And eventually my kids got there. They called the scooter people. They showed up with a new scooter with a fully charged battery and took the old one back. And everything was great. And then we went down, and that's where we caught a drink or two on the way. And then we caught up with everyone at the Hooligans concert. We sat outside for the first one and just listened while we were just going through some of the shops my daughter wanted to shop. And then we got to the concert, and CJ and I went to the concert. And those of you who were there, Jeff and Ange and everybody else, I apologize that I had to run out so fast. My son had a major meltdown throughout the entire concert, but I figured nobody could hear him screaming, so I just let him have his meltdown through the concert. And he was yelling at me the whole time, go home, go to hotel, go home. He was not having a good time. But at that point I was so frustrated and tired. I was like, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this concert. So, but yes, we had to duck out rather quickly after that. We had to get him someplace that he was having a good time. But I certainly enjoyed being there with my friends, getting to see you all and hug your necks and everything. People say I have a lot of patience, Karki, addressing that, rolling with it. people say I have a lot of patience, and I know when you have a child who has autism, you learn to roll with just about anything because anything can happen. And I was so proud of myself for getting this vacation. And I figured it's Disney, so anything that goes wrong is not a problem because we're in Disney. We will find a way to get through it, you know? And we also, CJ and I got to do a photo pass there. I didn't get as many photo pass things as I would have liked. But I spend every day, all day, rolling with things. So rolling with it wasn't. Oh, I know you couldn't hear me on any of the videos, but I was singing just as loud as Jeff. Angela Minter and I were back there just singing our hearts out. And so, I don't know. I was probably singing louder than Jeff. That's why my voice sounds the way it does. I lost my voice that night. And I've been fighting with it ever since. Also a little dehydrated, but we tried to stay hydrated. We had water bottles, and I would like to say, yes, there's water available everywhere. If it's not a water fill station, then it's the local quick serve place. They will give you as many glasses of ice water or just a cup of ice. This was a cool thing that happened in Universal. I'm not Universal, Hollywood Studios. The whole family was waiting in line for Joffrey's to get coffee, and my son was just more and more frustrated because we had to wait before we could go on Mickey and Minnie's, and that's all he wanted to ride. The whole flight down there, Mickey and Minnie's, Runaway Railway, before we went to sleep, Mickey and Minnie's. So the whole party's waiting in the line for Joffrey's, and there was a line, but there was a line everywhere. That's just part of it, and you don't get upset, you just stand in line. And right next to it is a stand that sells fruit and food and stuff like that. And so I got CJ and I rolled up and I said, yeah, I'd like a banana and a cup of ice. And I started to pull out my little gift card, to pay for my purchase. And the cast member leaned over and he goes, "Don't tell anybody, have a banana." And he handed me the banana and the cup of ice. And I said, "Thank you." And so I handed them to CJ, and we drove over and sat on a bench, and CJ ate his banana and was very happy about it. And I thought that was a little cast member magic, and made me happy. And because he didn't have to do that. I think they were $2.50 a piece for the bananas, but he just gave us one. And thank you, cast member. That was beautiful. Let's see what else. I think my favorite park at this point is Animal Kingdom. Even though that was the one place I did get some rudeness from somebody. It wasn't a cast member, it was just another park guest. But we were sitting outside the restaurant there near Pandora. And my son was having a meltdown because he was soaking wet, he was tired, he was hungry, he was ready to move on, and so he was having a little meltdown outside, and I had pulled him off to the side, and he had his own little space where he could vocalize and verbalize, and somebody walked by and looked at me and said, "Your son is hungry, you should feed him," and kept on walking. And I was like, that's just an ignorant person, and they must be having a bad day, and I'm not going to let it get to me. So that was the only time anybody made any rude remarks to me, and I just consider the source and let them move on. I remember it, but it doesn't bother me. And I'll show you my souvenirs. I got he is a shoulder pog. He sits on your shoulder and with the magnet. So that was one of the things I got. My daughter got to go to Cast Connections and with her sister-in-law. And so they got me this. It's the little unicorn from Inside Out, the rainbow unicorn with a cup of coffee and with her eyes, you know, and she's got the little cup of coffee there, if you can see from the glare. So I got another pop. And yeah, we didn't buy a lot of souvenirs. We spent most of our stuff on food. Porg, yes. I never say that right. My kids were laughing at me the whole time. Well, I mean, I got overstimulated easily on the first day, and so language was hard. Another thing, if you're going to be in a wheelchair or on a scooter, I suggest you make several t-shirts to wear to the different parks that say, yes, I can transfer. I pleased so many cast members because they would look at me and they'd start to say, how many in your party? And I would go, 5? Yes. And they go, okay. Because the two questions I always got asked was, how many in your party? Are you comfortable transferring? And even both times on Rise of the Resistance, when your shuttle gets captured and you go into that, I don't want to give away anything of the ride if people are waiting till they see it, but you go into the big room on the Imperial ship, okay? You'll know what I'm talking about. You go into that room, and both times the Imperial cast member stayed in character, but was very polite about asking, can you transfer? Are you comfortable standing for about 10 minutes? You know, they did their cast member job, but they did it in character, and they were still very respectful and very polite. Except the second time when the cast member was riding off, he yelled, let me through or I'll hurl some turtle shells at you, which is a Mario Kart reference, which we loved and laughed about. But anyway, our last day at Hollywood Studios, back to Animal Kingdom, we did the safari. It was the last safari of the night. Very calm, very serene. My son absolutely loved that. We did Festival of the Lion King, and we got to sit next to the interpreters for the hearing impaired and deaf people. And those two interpreters, to me, they stole the show, because not only do they sign, but they act it out. There's a male and a female, and they take turns playing the different parts. And these two folks, they are amazing to watch, and I found myself watching them more than I actually watched the show. But the show was phenomenal, and Mike Wheeler, if you catch the replay, I saw one of the stilt guys look just like you to me, and man, the stilt guys were giving it their all. They were amazingly wonderful. But yeah, the Lion King is an amazing ride. Dinosaur, holy Moses. Dinosaur the ride, that one shakes you around a bit, but they have seats that form fit to your bottom. And so you don't bang around. When you're in that seat, it holds your hips, kind of. So you don't bang around nearly as much. The ride that surprised me was Flight of Passage. I knew I would have some trouble with heights on that ride because I'm terrified of heights. But once they strap you in the seat, you feel really secure. And between your legs, you can feel the Banshee breathing. And so I decided, since I was starting to have a little panic attack, I closed my eyes and I started breathing with the Banshee. and just ignoring all the visual input and just breathing with the banshee and feeling the motion and listening to the music and the sounds. And I had a very ethereal meditative experience, if you will. It was a very centering and grounding and beautiful moment, very personal moment. And very refreshing too. When I got off that ride, I felt very relaxed and calm. Yeah, yeah. I knew it was Mike. It was Mike in my mind. It was totally Mike. And oh my gosh, the high energy. But yeah, so flight of passage, even if you're afraid of heights. Okay, Casey, you go do your homework. I'm gonna get out of here in a minute anyway. The boy wants to go to the grocery store. We cleaned out the fridge before we left. And yeah, Carol, my daughter wants to go into interpreting not only sign language, but with foreign language, Asian languages mostly. And it's quite an undertaking, but good for your daughter. I know she'll be fantastic at it because you raise good kids. I know you do. You're an excellent mom. But anyway, so Animal Kingdom, I think that's where I felt the most magic. I know because of the cuts that have been made, I didn't feel a lot of magic because I didn't see a lot of the characters. The cavalcades, our schedule wasn't on with the cavalcades in that we didn't sit there and run to see them because we were doing other things. Also, the scooters, yes, they go slow. They go walking speed slow, but honest to God, if they'd have gone any faster, I would have ended up hurting some people. They go slow for the people around you's protection. Because, like I said, people were just unaware and they just crowd through and push through. Where I was taught, when you see somebody in a wheeled vehicle because of a disability, you can adapt your path. It's kind of like the story of the ocean liner and the lighthouse. I don't know how many of you have heard that joke, where the ocean liner says, other boat, we see you, but you need to yield. We're coming through. And the other light says, negative, you need to yield. And the boat comes back and says, no, you need to yield. We're an ocean liner. And the other light comes back and says, we're a lighthouse. You need to yield. And, you're in the scooter, you're kind of the lighthouse. You can't really yield. You end up sitting there because people are just oblivious. That became frustrating, and I even asked a cast member if I could get a laser mounted on the top of the handlebars for the scooter, and I think I scared the poor girl to death because her eyes got wide and she stepped back, and I said, I'm just kidding, hon. I'm just kidding. I don't really want a laser gun. It's okay. I'm not gonna shoot anybody. But yeah, so other than that, and like I said, we got in yesterday at 12 noon and we slept 18 hours straight. I got up in time to set this up. To do this thing, I'll go ahead and play what I've got for you again. We're going to be working on this for a while. This is the music for the holiday YouTube community celebration. And so far, this is what I got. So let me get it back here. that's our little opening fanfare. Your little, I think it's about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So that'll give them the opening, and then I'm following the format of lessons and carols. So the next song will be Once in David's Royal City, and we'll move on through your traditional lessons and carols format for that. Guys, I thank you so much for coming in today and saying hi. Like I said, I will be doing a vlog series on my trip where I'm going to break it down in little pieces all the way through. When I can process it all and write it all down and be much more organized with everything that we did, because yeah, I'm, I'm barely on my first cup of coffee, and it's only about 10 o'clock for me, and I'm used to it being 1:30 in the afternoon at this point. So I thank you all for dropping by. I thank you for being here. I will be back next Wednesday, and hopefully I've made a lot more progress with this. Thank you, Cricket. A lot more progress with this. Also, next Tuesday night on the Manhattan Fox channel, we'll be doing our monthly Manhattan Fox Hour with a special guest. Jesse from Whether or Not with Jesse will be along with us. And this one's going to be bigger than last year too. It's going to be quite a show. So I'm going to go on and get some groceries in my house and start doing laundry from the trip. And everything else, and I will see you guys next week for sure. Next Wednesday, 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It's Pearl Manhattan. We're going to have live music, composition, and production. Peace and blessings upon you, upon all you love, upon all who love you. Make your dreams come true. I made this trip come true on a fixed income with 2 disabled people. I made this trip happen. We spent 5 days in the parks. You can make it happen, whatever your dream is. You just set your mind to it and take care of the little things, and the big things will take care of themselves. I love each and every one of you, and I bless each and every one of you. Thanks for being here today. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next Wednesday.